Rob Yates, let's talk about generosity when it comes to business. We're going to dive into Second Corinthians 9, verse 10, and basically just the importance of the generosity within your business and different types of generosity as well, I guess, within your business. Something that I've learned from you and that I must say is helping me a lot, and I'm talking about my spiritual growth as well, is to be generous in my business. And that means that, okay, yes, having a set price and having a set rate for my product, but still in the generosity part, seeing how much more I can add for this. Let's say, for instance, if I sell pens, how much more can I add to selling this one pen? Maybe I can add a filler, complimentary. Maybe I can tell them where they can get it, and maybe I can tell them how to maybe make a business out of also selling pens. And I guess for me, it has been such a beautiful thing to be able to be generous within my business when it is in that form as well. I love adding value. I love adding value. I've gotten the importance of adding value, and it's, for me, so beautiful to know that it is such a biblical principle as well, to add value. And I wanted to ask you, Robin, in what you do, where do you see those gaps, of adding value and of being generous in business?
Look, I think we all want godly outcomes, right? That's what we're looking for. And I think to do that, you've got to have a godly product or a godly service.
Sure.
And God's with us from the day we die, the day we're born to the day we die. He's there to guide us. He's there got a plan for us. He's showing us the right path and adding value to us the entire time. And I think many of us get to the point where we are fixed product for a fixed price, and that's cool. But people still aren't getting what they want from that product. And then we struggle to get more people. And so the pen, what's the pen without the ability to write? Right? Now, of course, you can't write without the pen. But you can't write with the pen unless somebody has actually supported you to learn to write, to use the pen.
I love it. Yeah.
And so when you think about what's a godly product or what's a godly service and what's value, it's not just the pen, it's what the pen can bring you. And so if you can sell people a pen and teach them to become an author, to write a book and sell a book, then you're heading towards something of real value.
Man, you just took that to another level. Yes, now I hear you.
So I see that in the coaching industry the entire time. People sell their time by the hour and they say, here's the hour, and we'll have a chat. Here's some stuff that you must go do. Here's some thoughts that you should change. And bye for now. I'll see you in a week's time, same place. And if you want anything else in the meantime, I'll charge you, which is pretty normal. And, the generous approach is finding ways to support people even when you can't be with them in person. Be that through community. I said yesterday, was it yesterday? I can't remember where it was. The biggest gap in every Christian's business is building a community in the church, right? Sure. That's the biggest gap in my opinion. You ask, what would Jesus do if he sat in your seat in your business now? He create an opportunity to disciple through a community, through a network that he built, where he brought people together to worship under one roof in his name. And isn't that generosity? Isn't that value? Isn't that companionship? Yeah, I don't know. That's it. What you obviously found 2 Corinthians 9:10 for a reason. Like, which bit of it jumped out to you when you were thinking about what you do?
I think one thing that I also got from that is about God being a provider, even in our generosity, because with me, and what was a bit challenging at times is that that if I'm being generous with my time, if I'm being generous with my talent, if I'm being generous with even with my finances, would there be enough still, And I had to fight that mentality of it. It was a scarcity mentality, and that mentality came even from my youth and from where I grew up in a village. You never saw in abundance. There was always scarcity, there's always need, and there's always people who are, if I can put it this way, pulling heavy, And I had to break away from that, and I'm so glad God has really come and blessed me. Like I said, with people like you and the people that we do business with, He's really come and blessed me with gentlemen and people around me that think elevated thoughts and that think above, that think noble thoughts, to be able to navigate me through the scarcity mentality, and to be able to allow me then to be generous with my time. If I'm DJing at a place and they want me to maybe go 30 minutes extra, I'm like, no problem, I won't charge you anything like that. This is me helping out, and this is me just also solidifying that next time, because the next time that they want to get me, they'll actually remember that, hey man, but flip, that guy actually helped us out for 30 minutes longer. Even when it comes to the stuff that I do, let's say as an MC, and they also ask me, hey, a bit of a longer time, or hey, can you do this? Can we tweak today? And I know in the briefing we discussed this, but now we have to do something totally different. To be able to be adaptable in those moments, and not to basically freak out and say that, no, I wasn't paid for this, or whatever the case may be. But that is also part of the generosity. And I believe that I had to make a switch in believing in God's provision when it comes to 2 Corinthians 9 verse 10, that, even though I am generous, even though I am giving, and I'm giving way more value most probably than what my rate is, I must still be able to trust in God's provision, that He'll provide for a next gig and a next gig and a next gig. And for me, that was quite cool. It definitely helped me get through that scarcity mentality that I had of work, and of thinking, this is going to be the only gig that I have, so I have to milk the living daylight out of it.
Yeah, it's funny, one of the big things we because some people might hear you now and go, well, I could never, in my environment, I could never give an extra half an hour, right? When I think about, and I get it, because there's some environments that's just not possible, and sometimes for yourself as well, it's just not possible. You've got to be in the car driving to the next gig. So
next one, 100%.
But what's our version of laying it all on the table at His feet, putting all of us there in that moment, where if you're DJing, they get 100% of the very best godly version of you for that time period that they've booked for. I think we're often guilty of trying to ask ourselves, how little can we do for how much? As opposed to how much can I fit into so little?
Man.
And I think that when I look, in fact, I was in a meeting this morning with a business partner of mine, and we were talking about successful people. We were talking about the Matthew principle as well. And I was like, if you look at poor, let's say scarcity mindset, and rich, let's say abundance mindset, poor people are very much, how little can I do to still get this unit that I want? Let's call that money, right? And when I look at the richest people I know in wealth terms, they're like, how much can I do? How hard can I work? Sure. How much can I do within this to get this unit? And if you look about who favors who, and let's get really agnostic about it and step completely out of Christianity, but let's just go to the workplace. Which employee gets the promotion?
Yeah,
right. It's the person who does as much work as possible, and it says, and I can solve that and this for you, and they position themselves to be favored. The person who does as little as possible is seen to be taking without giving. And in this environment that I find myself in, the generosity is all about discipleship. and your job is the biggest opportunity to disciple you will ever have for anybody who's got a job, right? You don't have any 8 to 10 hours in a day. Well, you sleep for another 8 hours and you've got some family time. Like, your other discipleship opportunities is minuscule. And we think it involves smacking people over the head with a Bible and quoting verse at them and praying and making them feel awkward. It's actually about being like Jesus.
Come on.
And being like Jesus in such a profound manner that they cannot do anything but go, how on earth does he pull that off?
Mm.
And so, like, we're often distracted by our life remote control during things that we're doing, and so on and so forth. What's really funny is you're no more or less tired at the end of a day where you've put it all out there within those boxes that you've got than if you don't. It's the same waking time, it's the same energy spent, but one produces a set of outcomes that produces more outcomes that are positive for us, and the other one just ticks the box and says, I did it today, but not a lot more.
Sure. Man, I love that, Robin. That speaks so much of a mindset of abundance, and I think it boils and it spills over into, as you say, your time, because then if you have that within you and within your mind, you'll think of how can I actually have an abundance in this place, in this setting of my work, in this setting of being with my wife, in this setting of actually being with my kids, because it's an overall thing. It's definitely an overall thing, like you say. But I absolutely love it, and I think we can definitely wrap it up and say that God is our provider, and it challenges us to actually be even more generous.